Hey guys, it's Kathleen. Welcome back to my channel. I am here with a what sold video. It's been a hot minute since I've done one of those, and also I haven't been thrifting in 3 weeks. First of all, because of Thanksgiving, and second, because I had to march in a parade with my kiddos from school on Saturday, and I just couldn't make it all work together on that Saturday. So here we are. And plus I have plenty of stuff to list out of my death pile. So I'm going to try and keep myself on target with getting through all of that crap before I go thrifting next week. So anyway, I'm going to just jump in with 30 recent sales to give you an idea of what's moving for me and how much of a profit I'm making on things. So first off is this Redken diamond conditioner. This actually just sold this morning. And so if you remember, I picked this up at a yard sale for $2. It was the lady who, she used to be a manager at Ulta. If I can find those that are brand new, I love picking those up on the cheap. They tend to move for me. This is no exception. It's really heavy. It's going to be over 3 pounds to ship, but it didn't hang around all that long either. So $30 profit, yes please. So it sold for $32. Next is Jingle Bell Rock Santa. I knew he wasn't going to last long. He sold in about 2 hours. I did price him low because we were getting close to Christmas and I wanted to move him along. Also, I was competing with a couple of versions of him that were brand new in the package, and so I just listed him at $32 and he sold, like I said, in just a couple of hours. I paid about $4 for him, I think. Yeah, $4 for him. So that was good. Who doesn't love when they sell fast like that? Okay, I picked up this Ideal Flatsy. This was the 1970s version of her. And it is the Spinderella. So you pull the little pull thing and she spins around like a ballerina. So I paid $5 for her and she sold for 30 bucks. All right, I grabbed these Philosophy leggings at an estate sale where all of the clothes were only $1. So these have hung around for probably about 6 months. They were in a size medium. Like I said, I paid $1 for them and I took an offer of 15 on them. I picked up this cat fiber optic Christmas ornament for about $1 at an estate sale a really long time ago. And I have moved just everything else that I picked up at that estate sale, but this thing has hung around, but it finally sold. So this is by Home Reflections, and like I said, I paid $1 and it sold for $14. Next is this Ugly Dolls wedge head. Y'all, I paid maybe a quarter for this so long ago, but it was new with the tags, like new old stock with the tags. It finally sold for $10. Next up is this Layman's Bible collection. This was just a ton of books that when I looked all through them, they seemed to be in really good condition for as old as they were. And the lady just wanted to get rid of them. So she gave them to me for $5. I had them listed for $58, but they've been sitting around a hot minute, probably 6 to 8 months. And so as soon as somebody offered 40 bucks on them, I snatched that offer right up. So they are moving out for 40 bucks. Next, I have this vintage Etienne Anye. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is a crossbody purse that I picked up at a churchyard sale just a couple of weeks ago, and I paid only $1 for it. I only picked it up because I have seen Kayla, the homeschooling picker, picking up this brand of vintage purses, and she said they move, so for $1, I was willing to try it, and it got a lot of attention almost as soon as I listed it, and then it sold for $20. This Better Not Younger hair redemption is from that same lady at that same yard sale where everything was only $2. Brand new and sealed item, and it sold for $18. I've made so much money off of those things that I picked up from her. That's why I love picking that stuff up. All right, next is this Oneida Craft Venus. This is the flatware that I thought was Michelangelo, but turned out not to be Michelangelo. Anyway, these are 4 forks. I paid about $1 for them. I think the whole set was like $3 or $5, and I've got others listed. I parted them all out, and these 4 sold for $9. I grabbed this Chico's 2-stranded necklace. So it is one of those chunky beaded necklaces that I picked up at that yard sale, or rather that church sale, where she charged me only $1 for each Chico's item. that I threw in there, or rather Chico's necklace. This one was new with the tags. It originally sold for $32.95, and I took an offer of $12, which, to be fair, I was in Florida during Thanksgiving when I accepted that offer. I did not realize it was the new with tags one. I would have held out a little bit higher, but even so, I paid $1 for it. So not the end of the world, but that was definitely a mistake on my part. Okay, I grabbed this lucky leather embellished or embroidered, I guess, leather belt. It's vintage, so beautiful. It has that really great boho chic vibe that I just love in some of the Lucky brand things. And so I paid only $1 for this at that same churchyard sale where I got a ton of clothes for just $1, and this belt sold for $25. I grabbed this Port Marion Christmas Story cookie jar at a churchyard sale probably about 6 months ago, and I paid $3 for it. It looked to be new in the package. It had the original styrofoam and everything, which makes it much easier to ship. Like I said, I paid $3 for it, and I took an offer of $20 on that. Okay, I sold all 3 pieces of that Patagonia that I picked up at that yard sale a couple of weeks ago. If you recall, the Cinchilla I paid $8 for, and then the Snap Tee sweatpants, there were 2 pair of them. I paid $5 each, and I was a little salty because when I got the gray pair home, it had a hole in it that I didn't see. But all 3 of them sold, so yay me. I mean, I didn't make a ton of money, but I made a quick profit, which sometimes that's just as good. So first is this Patagonia Cinchilla boys blue large sweatpants or jogging pants, whatever you want to call them. Like I said, paid $5, and I sold these for $15. The gray pair was right behind them. Again, paid $5, sold those for $13. And then the Cinchilla fleece, and it was in like this life cycle pattern. I like picking up Patagonia that is patterned. I tend to get higher offers for the pattern pieces. I paid $8 for that, and that sold for $28. So not bad at all. I mean, all things considered, particularly, like I said, because it was a fast mover. Okay, next, I sold this goody new old stock combs set. It's like those tortoise combs that we all wore in the late 70s, early 80s. I picked this up easily 4 years ago. I remember the exact church sale that I went to because I got a ton of new old stock goody hairbrushes. And this was in that pile along with some barrettes. And the barrettes I sold not too long ago, but these combs have hung on for forever. They finally sold. I paid 50 cents for these, and they sold for $14. Again, love picking up new old stock hair things. If you can find those goody brushes that are like the tan brush handle, and then they have the red rubber on them with the plastic like spiky things, I'll flash a picture of up there. If you find those, grab them. They sold so quick, and I want to say they sold for me for like $30 each, and I paid probably 50 cents or $1 that day. Oh, I love finding goodies products like that. Okay, I grabbed these 4 vintage Russ clip-on birds just recently at that vintage Christmas yard sale or estate sale or whatever it was. I paid $3 for all 4 of them, and they sold for $18, and they sold like within 24 hours of having been listed. Now, I have 9 of the cardinals, and they're still hanging on, which really surprised me because I thought they were going to go a lot faster, but oh well, you never know. All right. I picked up this stainless flatware made in Taiwan, not Japan, with the clear lucite handles. I picked these up probably last May. I remember because I was thrifting in Sarasota with my Aunt Kathy, and that's when I found them. So I paid $3 for these, and I flipped them for $32. I love all those plastic handle flatware pieces. And even though these were not like the highest quality, I just knew they had that vintage vibe and they were going to move eventually. I really do like to pick up flatware. It can be a real pain in the butt to get it all listed, but it eventually sells. So it's one of those things that I can just list, and I just keep on stacking it up in this like silverware container that I keep up in my attic where I keep my inventory. And then just little by little, it just goes. So it's one of those bread and butter things, but it does take the right buyer to be looking for a certain pattern. But I like picking that up, particularly Oneida. Also, anything from Japan. All right, next up I have these Boyd bears. These are the TF Wuzzies bears, and they are some of the few bears that I have remaining from that estate sale that I went to where I got that huge crate of miniature bears for $40. I have made bukus of money off of those bears. I am so grateful that I found that. These two were in that bin, and I almost didn't list them because I was like, they're just okay. They're not as cute as the others, but they sold. So I paid 50 cents for these, and probably less than that, honestly. And the two of them sold for $18. This New With Tags Russ Angel of the Month ornament I picked up in the beginning of yard sale season. It was still new with the tags. I only paid $1 for it, and it sold for $16. Next, I picked up this Chico's abstract necklace at that same sale where I got all the necklaces. So I only paid $1 for this necklace, and it sold for $16.50. So you see what I mean? The other one was new with tags. This one wasn't. I should have held out for more money, but at least it's gone. Okay, I was so excited because if you remember, I went to an estate sale that was private. So it was just run by two ladies, and one of them was listing everything so high and one of them really low. And I picked up this beautiful, beautiful trademark 2 vintage Goebel nativity set, and I was so excited because it was so beautiful, but the garage was really dark, and when I got it home, a lot of the pieces had been repaired. So I was kind of bummed about it, but I decided to break it up into 2 lots, and this is the first lot to sell. Excuse me, to sell. I paid only $25 for the entire set, and so I figure this is what, $12.50, maybe $12.50 cost of goods, and it sold for $48. This is the half of the nativity set that has got all of the animals and everything. The other half, which I really thought was going to go faster, has got the Holy Family and has got the creche in it, but so far it hasn't moved. I picked up this Old Navy Fair Isle sweater at a yard sale. It was a church yard sale, and they had a bunch of new with tag items, and I just liked it. I know it was only Old Navy, which doesn't sell particularly high, but the fact that it was new with tags, I was willing to take a chance. Excuse me, take a chance on it. And so I paid only $2 for it, and it sold for $18. Next is this Vasquez Skywalk cowhide hiking boots in a size 8N. So I picked these up at a churchyard sale for only $1, and they were beautiful. They're Gore-Tex hiking boots. I just knew that they were going to sell. They did not disappoint. They sold full price for $58. I grabbed this higher power Spanx shapewear. New and in the package. It was at a drive-by yard sale that I happened to see, and the only 3 things that I bought at this yard sale were 3 packages of Spanx new and in the package, and she only wanted $1 for each of them. And so this is the first one to sell, and it sold for $18. Next up, I have this Travada Birds of Paradise shirt. This I also got at the Chico's necklace yard sale, where all of the clothing was just $1. This I was so excited to find because this is a really desirable brand. I had never heard of it before, but when I looked at the comps, they were selling really, really high. This was no exception. So again, I paid $1 for it, and I accepted an offer of $51 on this shirt. I grabbed this Anthropology Merrymaker puzzle at a yard sale in the beginning of the fall, and I only paid $2 for it because it was new and sealed, and I thought Anthropology stuff sells. And this one got a lot of attention, but it finally sold for $20. This Ralph Lauren Black Label size 10 navy blue 100% wool blazer I picked up at that estate sale where I was finding all of these Armani pieces and St. John pieces for $1. This I paid only $5 for, and it sold for $50. It was so beautiful. If it had been in a slightly bigger size, because even though it was 10, it was vintage, and so it seemed to be more like size 8 when I looked at it. So I just made sure to include the measurements so that, I wouldn't have any disgruntled buyers, but it was such a beautiful piece for only $5. And then the last thing in this What Sold video are the Christopher Radko Christmas plates, the Christmas ornament plates. Thank God they sold, because if you remember, I had buyer's remorse because I picked them up for $8 for all 4 plates, thinking they were similar to the Christmas tree plates by Christopher Radko, which sell a lot higher. These do not sell as high, but I'm very happy that they did sell. So again, I paid $8 for them and they sold for $16. So at least I made some profit on them. All right, guys, so that is a total of 30 items that sold in the last couple of weeks. My cost of goods for all 30 items was $91.25, which gives me an average cost of goods of $3.04. And then I sold everything for $738.50. And if you back out the cost of goods of $91.25, and if you back out the fees of $96, that leaves me with a profit of $551.25. And that's not bad for Christmas shopping with Christmas season around the corner. So anyway, I hope everything is going well for you with Q4 and that things are flying off the shelves. And I am crossing my fingers that there are going to be some really kicking estate sales next weekend, because there are no yard sales anymore in Alabama, which really sucks, but that's okay. It'll only be a couple of months and then they'll be coming back again. So, all right, that's it for me. I am peacing out. Have a great week, and I will see you next weekend.